So we're going to do a couple of panorama shots just to let you know where we are. That's Highway 762, and this is the driveway coming into our property. And if you look to the left, that's a bit of the forest in the front portion of the property and 352nd Street. So video number 2, coming in and looking down the driveway towards the house and parking lot and the studio, and turning into the forest portion of the front part of the property. Video number 3, looking back at the front entry of the driveway, turning to the southwest, looking at the forest and into the open area where there is a bit of lawn and up against the house there. Video number 4, panning to the right again into a bit of an open area, and that's where we're going to put the shop. The trees in the middle have to come down. It's the only place in the property that has no utilities underneath it. And then the driveway going up to the house, and that's the house. Sitting on a bit of a hill, panoraming to the right, and a bit of lawn open area. We're guessing that's where the septic field is. We're not entirely sure. And a little grove of trees, and back to the driveway coming in. So that is a 360-degree view of just southeast corner of the house. So this is looking to the north, and at the southwest corner of our house, this is where we park outside. There's a little gravel parking pad. The garage is a little too full right now to put any cars in. And looking down the driveway to the southeast, and an open lawn area. A little bit of a firewood cutting area. Most of that was left by the previous owner. Coming around to the fire pit lawn open area, and coming around to the studio. That is where I built a little temporary workshop, studio, place to put stuff, do small projects. And then there's a driveway going into what was previously a horse pasture. And there's a gate there, but I've accidentally hit that post. It was so slippery. And that post is where our power comes in. And our post for power is in behind those trees, so you don't really see it. And Ryan's car, and that is 360 degrees. Okay, so now we're looking almost directly east at the house from the horse pasture down the driveway, and there's a little grove of trees, and I'm actually standing in the horse pasture right inside the gate there. The studio is in behind the trees there, and our property goes quite a bit to the southwest there, and the fence line on the other side of the open area is approximately the property line. And then panning, oops. And this is a open horse pasture. Now we don't have horses, and then we're looking at the horse shed, which we've kind of converted into a garden area, shed to store garden stuff, and I think my motorbike's up there, my quad is up there, just a place to store outdoor equipment. And then our property goes up and over the hill there, And now we're almost looking directly north and back in. That's another gate leading to a different path. So this is the open field where we're going to put the shop, approximately right there, 30 by 60, so about 1,800 square feet, 12-foot interior ceilings. And these are the trees that we have to knock down, unfortunately. Don't like to do that, but need the room. And a little bit of, we'll have to put a little bit of a driveway, so on and so forth. You see Evelyn in the background there. She doesn't want to be in the videos, but this is the south side of the studio, or the current little workspace that I've got. And yeah, so that's about 400 square feet. We'll give you an inside shop tour when it's finalized and cleaned up. And then as we pan to the right, a little bit of the driveway, and then the house again. So that's where we're putting. So now we're in the, I don't know, second or third horse pasture. Our land goes up and over that hill where you see the cut line, and our property line is to the left of the opening there. And we'll pan around here and you can see the studio and the house and Evelyn, and a little open area going into the forest. So this is all kind of open pasture that the previous owner had on the, for horses. I think they had 7 horses or something like that. And yeah, so our property goes, sorry about the left and right, but anyway, it goes all the way down to the end there. We'll walk there shortly, and we'll take another video. Okay, say something again.
January 6th, right?
It is Colin's birthday today. Evelyn's birthday tomorrow. But we're inside the South Forest. I say the South Forest, but it's about, I don't know, 4 acres of trees. And my little wood pile starting to clear out. And it's plus 5 degrees on the 6th of January, and that's a little area where the deer, all the deer, they kind of paw at the ground for whatever food they can find nowadays. And we'll move on to the southwest. Okay, so now we're a little bit further southwest on the property. This is kind of the edge of the forest. Some logs that I've saved from all the trees that have fallen down. Some's firewood. I'm going to try and make maybe some timber frame stuff out of that, just to see how it goes. And this is a big tree that fell down in the first windstorm, probably about a 24-inch diameter tree at the base, at any rate. Pretty big tree. We figured about 75-80 feet long, and it fell down. Caleb, Jordan's husband, cut it down for us because he knows what he's doing. Evelyn is obsessed with snowmen when it's this warm. And this is the southwest corner opening where we were originally going to put the shop. And then you can just see in the corner, I don't know if it's very clear, but there's a brush pile that we have there that was left from the previous owner, and then the property goes up into that corner, which we will walk to shortly. Okay, so this is again more on the south end of the property. That is another gate leading to this pasture. Kind of nice to have if you have to get in on this side of the property. And then panning to the very southwest corner, it goes up a hill. And our property goes up and over the hill into a really tight triangle. There's the wood pile that was left from behind. We're going to probably burn that later this winter. And panning around, this is kind of a neat little hill that we hopefully next year will set up for tobogganing for the grandkids or whoever. And coming around, and there's Evelyn again. Okay, so now we're pretty well at the very southwest corner of the property, and I don't know if you can see that, but the property goes right down the hill here, because we are in the foothills, very much so, about 2 to 3 kilometers from the edge of the Kananaskis. And in the neighbor's driveway there's an easement on the title that they have, a little triangle that they can use. That is okay by us, because it's not really land that can be used for anything other than looking at or walking on. And then coming around and top of the hill there, we'll go there next. And we've kind of set up a little sitting station here, so we go for walks, place to sit down for a minute. And then down the hill there is the original spot we were going to put the shop, but as it is, it's too costly to have power in that location, so we had to change our minds. Okay, so this is probably the highest point in the southwest corner, and you can kind of see 352nd Street kind of curves around and borders our property. And as we come, and I don't know how well you can see that, but we'll pan to the left, and again the brush pile from the backside, and the gate on the very south end of the property, the edge of the forest. And as we pan to the left, you can see the cut line, which used to be a government road allowance, which the neighbors and the previous owners purchased when it came up for sale to add to their acreage. And you can see the horse shed in the distance there. And so our property runs all the way from this southwest corner down that small hill, over the big hill, down the big hill, and we'll eventually get some videos of that as well. And yeah, so we're getting the full tour. Just as a note, you can kind of see the little yellow flags in the snow here. We had the utilities marked. Obviously the power goes from the roads, but the gas line runs underground. The neighbors, and to the neighbors from the road in this area here. I don't know if you can see that. I can't see the lens, but kind of an inconvenient place for utilities to be, but it is what it is. And we're recording.
Oh, well, this is a little area in the south part.
Don't look at me, look at the camera. Mrs. from the woods.
Mrs. from the woods doesn't like
being on camera.
So this is a really, what we think is a wet spot, a natural little creek runs through here in the spring. More than likely.
So you can see that it's kind of sparse. We think it's kind of a seasonal creek. There is what we think to be the original hand-dug well, but we're not sure. We'll take a video of that in a little bit, but we are on the very south end of the property again, very close to the entryway, and again in the forest. So this forest is, I'm going to guess, about 5 acres-ish, and all kinds of big trees, small trees, dead standing, fallen trees. And that there is 352nd Street, which the property borders. It divides us and the neighbors across the way. And so we're coming back. Anything else to add? What are we going to build here?
A bridge.
A bridge. One of the projects coming up for the summer. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so again, we're getting closer and closer to the driveway. As you can see, there's a bunch of trees that probably fell in the last windstorm. They just snap off at the base. More than likely the ones that aren't so terribly healthy right at the moment. But we've had such a dry summer that no wonder that things aren't looking so good, hopefully. And this is one tree that's kind of interesting. If you look at the huge burls on there, now there's probably nothing to them, not worth anything because it's spruce and they're probably so soft you can't do anything with it. But anyway, this is an older tree. Kind of a neat thing in the forest here. Looks like the previous owner put a red tag on there that it was going to come down at some point. And then yeah, so a whole bunch of fallen trees that we're eventually going to deal with. And Evelyn's standing where she thinks she's going to build the bridge. So this now we're at what we think is almost the top end of the seasonal creek, and probably a drainage area for a large part of the property. Kind of a swale in the ground here, so that's what we're kind of thinking. We'll probably find out next spring exactly what it is. And that box there, we've asked the neighbors, we've kind of did a bit of investigating. Don't know what it is. We think it is the original hand-dug well for the property many years ago, because there's several of them in the area that you can see through the trees. And then that goes up a bit of a drainage area again. So this whole swath of area kind of is marshy. It's got what looks to be a seasonal creek, and then you can just see through the trees there. There's the studio and the house, and so that's this. We're standing in the forest that we see from our front window. Okay, so now we are at the very front end of what we think is the runoff area. And if I had to guess, we're probably standing approximately in the center of the property. This is where we're going to put the new shop. Signed the papers yesterday, and some of those trees have to come down. We're not entirely sure. More of a safety factor than necessity, just in case they fall over on the new building. And then there's the studio. Again, we'll do a little bit of a inside video a little bit later. And then panning towards the house and fire pit area, and now panning to the southeast corner. The driveway is just kind of on the other side of that fence and goes to the southeast corner. So, and then you can kind of see, if you use your imagination, if you look straight down there, it's kind of a open area, marshy, less treed area, which we again think it's okay. So now we're up at the horse shed, turned into storage shed, gardening shed, etc. Looking almost directly south now, towards the southwest corner of the property, panoraming, and right where those clump of trees are, the fence and the property line are correct, but we actually own to the right of the fence line by quite a bit. It's kind of an illusion. Into the trees a little bit. Just the previous or original landowner here put the fence wherever he thought it was easiest, and it does not match the property line. So I guess that's pretty common. And so now we're panning into an area where Evelyn's going to be putting her garden, and we've started. It's obviously covered with snow now, but put a whole bunch of compost down and a little bit of a gabion wall, and so this is an end of the other horse pasture. I guess they divided it up, and up there our property goes to the left of the fence, into the trees a little bit. Again, just the way things were at that time. And then up and over the hill, and kind of running out of battery here, so we'll have to do this at a different time. Compost bins, and that is Evelyn's garden shed. I'll do a quick peek in there in just a second. And then in the horse portion of the shed, I have garden equipment and the quad and my motorbike and chainsaws, so on and so forth. And the sitting area where we like to come and sit. Today again in the sun it's just beautiful. And then back down to the house and the studio again. So this is the horse shed. That's a couple of implements a friend of mine gave to me. He had no use for it anymore. A leaf sweep and a fertilizer or herbicide spreader. And into the horse shed, I don't know if you can see in the dark there, but a little bench, a little trailer, my quad, my motorbike, the mower deck, and in the summer we probably will put the mower up here, and I got a little chipper shredder in there for turning trees into chips for the garden. And yeah, kind of a junk storage place. So this is the second half of the horse shed, which Evelyn has turned into a garden storage work area, so on and so forth. We store, let me see if I can get in here, things like the rakes and yeah, all kinds of little things. Nicely out of the way. Have to put a door on it, and for the storage shed as well. Neighbors say that it's pretty safe around here, but for peace of mind I think we're going to put doors on here for security.